What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Sweat It Out podcast.
If you want to be successful, look inside.
We don't like sitting in the discomfort.
Then all of a sudden that day came when I got $20 and 2 free drinks to do a show, and I was like, oh shit, here we go, baby. You know?
Thank God she hasn't caught a chicken yet because she'll tear her head off.
Don't be soft.
That patience is key.
If all my friends are winning, then it's going to make me want to win more.
What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Sweat It Out podcast. Today we have a very special guest. This guy is the co-founder of Juice Labs and Peach NYC. He is an author. He has the 3-time startups exits and an angel investor. Guys, please help us welcome the one and only Troy Osinoff. How's it going, brother?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're doing good here down in Miami, which I know you said you're not too far from us. So,
No, sir.
So how you been, man? How's everything going? What brought you to Delray? And definitely would love to hear, how are things going with the whole COVID in your businesses and kind of how that has continued to move forward for you.
For sure. Yeah, I'm down in Delray right now visiting. My family moved down here. Actually, we're opening up an office in Miami for Juice. So we're expanding from New York to Miami as well. We were between Miami and Austin. And
good choice.
The weather's a little better in Miami. So
we have a little more flavor, a little more culture.
Yeah, a little more like the colors on your background right now.
It's very Miami themed.
There we go.
You just need some coladas instead of fruit.
Wait, you got to point out the Juice logo real quick, though.
Oh, you mean this whole thing?
There we go.
Yeah, no, we're stoked. We're the city's been super accommodating. Been talking to the mayor. He's been beyond accommodating and friendly, which definitely enticed us even more. So we're looking. Well, first of all, looking for apartments, and then after the apartments taken care of, taking care of office space.
Yeah, you better hurry up quick with like Blackstone and JP Morgan and everyone coming to downtown in Brickell
before they scoop it all up.
Oh man, it's crazy with the exodus from New York City. I mean, you literally can't get a dinner reservation on South Beach right now. It's insane. Going to the restaurants.
It's just funny going down there and seeing all the different New York license plates down there. I see more New York plates than Florida.
I don't think I've heard this many locals on the beach like complain about the New Yorkers. Like usually it's like a tourist in general. They're like, but specifically now they're like, oh my God, the New York people, they're coming down here. They're complaining. Like one of my friends was like, my friends from New York came and they were like, well, we needed like a primary care physician for our kids. And like, there's no Yelp reviews. And we're like, why would you pay? Why you're going to Yelp to find your kid's doctor? Like, come on. Like, would you do that in New York? Like, no, you wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't. You come to me because I have I have the network when it comes to the family.
But I'm like, come on, people. Like, but there's a ton of New Yorkers, ton of people from Boston, the whole Northeast.
Cali, Cali as well. A lot of my friends from LA, SF area are definitely flying on over.
So do you really think that there's going to be a huge impact now? I keep thinking Miami is going to really go on a skyrocket. Do you think there's going to be a huge impact from what you're seeing?
I hope so. I was in Miami a few years ago, seeing like the tech scene, how it was shaping up, and it was definitely like more of its like infancy getting started, probably like 5 years ago. And I was a little more skeptical back then. And now that you have like, again, like the mayor being super accommodating, all these people coming in from all over the country now, all these like funds coming in now. So I think it's something a lot more interesting and a lot more potential as everyone keeps, flying on over.
And when you say because you said this word a couple of times, accommodating, Mayor Suarez, right? Is what you're talking about.
Yep.
In what ways is the mayor or the city of Miami in general, right, being accommodating to the tech industry in order to try to draw some more business to the city? I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, I mean, the city itself, like different departments from the city are helping us find office space, actually, different programs and grants for hiring and everything.
Awesome.
Like doing kind of press releases, getting attention, because when we open the office, we want to actually hire a bunch of people down here. So they're obviously, of course, super thrilled to hear that. So
Right.
They'll do whatever they can to make it so.
Yeah. Anytime, end or post pandemic, you can increase the amount of jobs that are in Miami. I think anyone would be pretty pumped about that.
I love
For sure.
Miami growing. It's my city, born and raised.
Yeah.
Born and raised.
Nice.
Yeah, my goal, I'm like, man.
Can't you tell?
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's my goal is I want to be one of those first Miamians, born and raised, that came up through the ranks. So I'm pushing.
I like it.
I'm pushing.
I like it.
I mean, it's a pretty interesting time being down here. I mean, I've been here about 8 years now, and just to kind of see that, even from when I got here, I mean, you were probably down here around the same time too. I don't. You said your family's from Delray, or just like
they moved down here like 10 years ago.
Okay, so you saw it too. I mean, even like in that area, like one of my best friends is that went to Syracuse with me. Is in West Palm, and he's like, dude, you couldn't imagine the construction that's going on.
I mean, it's crazy. Like my grandmother's down here as well, and she was telling me it's like you got to see like Atlantic Avenue, which is like a strip up in Delray Beach. So, like it's crazy, all these bars, all these restaurants, and it's of course like my grandma. I'm like, okay, grandma, sure. And I go there, I'm like, oh wow, there's actually like a lot of people going out, and it's like the bars are just packed. Well, a little less so now, but like last year, like the bars are packed. Las Olas, like Fort Lauderdale, like all of like Southern Florida is just growing like crazy in the population. Like, so my grandparents like were always here, so I used to come here a bunch growing up, and I always saw like Florida's for old people. Like that's just how Florida
it was
is,
when
like,
we were growing up.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That shift is happening, and I'm noticing it. Just getting younger and younger. All the bars are opening up more. It's just getting more crowded, and it's like catering towards younger. So it's definitely I see that shift.
Well, that's a whole FAU crowd. I went to grad school at Fort Atlantic and Boca, and they all go to Atlantic Ave. That's like the whole bar scene. That's what you're looking at right there.
And also too, like you see, like my mom and my grandparents lived in West Palm that's where my mom was raised when they came from Cuba to Jersey and then West Palm. She was raised majorly in West Palm Beach. So I was around West Palm Beach a lot, driving back and forth, seeing my grandparents in Boynton and Delray and Pompano. So it's crazy to see now all these areas really rising up, not just Miami, but those areas there. And then you got Tampa, you got Orlando, you got Jacksonville. Some of these other more prominent cities are just like really taking off, and the youth, they're all moving to these cities. So it's really interesting to see what's going on.
Yeah, I think just COVID's kind of like just kind of added more fuel to that, just because people, if you're like even if like you're in the cities like New York or up like anywhere outside where it's like cold, like you have to go somewhere where it's nice and warm. We're going to quarantine anyway, and then just open up a little more. So I mean, it's definitely attracting a lot of people.
And do you see something special about the South Florida or Miami market in particular for juice and the things that you guys have going on? Or do you just see it as like an opportunity where probably some people who are qualified to be able to work with you guys are moving to Miami, so it's a good opportunity to be able to maybe get into that space?
So I mean, it's a good question. So like in digital marketing, like tech in general, I think a lot of people are like moving here, but also there's a lot of like tech schools and stuff that have been around, like Ironhack and a few others that have been in Miami for a minute now. Like I remember they were here when I was here, a few years ago, and I think there's just more of them growing. So over the years, kind of compounds, more and more schools, more people teaching, more people getting interested, and this kind of naturally sprang through the community. I feel like so, like technology and like marketing and such is just kind of is just spreading naturally because you had that foundation there that's kind of growing and blossoming.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting take on it. I didn't even know about those schools down here, to be honest. I don't really leave the beach other than to come to the studio, though. So
I think you really started seeing some of that shift. Like I know Wynwood had a few of these schools, and you had like WinCode, you had some of these other small coming up. And this started like 2015, 2016. You started seeing some of these pop up, and they kept saying like, oh, we're going to have this tech movement, and we're going to have more of this advancement. And even then I remember they're having some of these, what was the name of this? They had the conventions like B2B, Emerge Americas, and they started
Emerge was big, yeah.
Yeah, I remember I went to a few of those.
Same, yeah.
It was, I remember I was actually dating one of the ones that worked, and I used to get in there all the time. So it was really cool at the beginning. And it was really interesting to see like the movement of that coming up and really, seeing where Miami was going to head to and what they were trying to picture. But of course, then you would always hear like, Miami's still not there, and, it's not going to be the same. And like you said, I think COVID really just like created and paved that way, for Miami and some of these other cities in Florida. And then you got Texas as well. But it's really interesting because I always say COVID really sped things up 5 years ahead, especially when it comes to online and digital and all this stuff. So it's really interesting to see where things are going to go.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing that like COVID in general, like speeding up, like people getting used to like things online stuff like at Juice. We do a lot of work with a lot of different e-commerce and technology companies, and the rate of people just moving towards e-commerce and accepting like technology and getting used to it as like a newer norm, like it just that COVID just kind of skyrocketed that. So I think it's just a catalyst across the board in technology, and thankfully that Miami had this foundation already that it just enabled them to keep growing.
So I want to ask you, just because it is a rising industry, what are some of the key things that you should understand when entering in the e-commerce space? What are some of those important pillars that you should be able to, want to be able to follow and implement into your business?
So like if you're getting into e-commerce as like a store, like what context?
I guess whatever you want to, start off with, if in the store in general, like what are some of the things that you see that, you should have, strong?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. If you're a store that's trying to get online and get into the e-commerce space, like definitely building up a foundation of getting your initial customers, getting used to shopping online, offering discounts online to kind of push people online to give them that option to buy there as well. Building community online, building out email lists so you can consistently if you have a new product that you want to get out to people, make sure you have an email list you can get out to them without having to rely on like a Facebook algorithm to hopefully they see your Instagram post. But now if you actually have customers that you can collect emails or phone numbers from, whenever a new product launch, you can just market to all of them and you own that email list. You're not at the behest of like Facebook. Right. They do like an update, ruining your entire marketing funnel. So building up like an own channel, like having any kind of community, even if it's just emails, it's still plenty that you can always reach out to these people, because there's no updates that's kind of ruin your email exposure to these people.
I love that you mentioned about this, because I think it's funny how we've gone from like an era from 2015 to like 2019, 2020, where it's like social media really driving boom, 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 boom. And then out of nowhere, now we're going back to some old school methods.
Yeah, it's like
right?
forums, community, online communities.
Getting press releases, and now huge again, publications, features, emails, even calling. Like calling is on the rise again, because so many people would stop calling because everything was social media DMs and messaging, that people would even not call anymore. And now what they're saying is like the big dogs are saying, you know what, we're going to call more now because nobody is calling people. So we're going to be the first one people are going to answer and be like, oh, okay, cool. So it's really interesting to see where the space is going, like kind of like a cycle again moving forward.
Yeah, I think it's because so a few years ago, I was running acquisition for BuzzFeed. And like at the time, there was a few Instagram and Facebook updates, mostly the Facebook updates, that kind of made Facebook pages almost useless. So like before, if you used to have a basic page with tons of followers on it, it's great. You do a post, your followers see it, amazing. But then Facebook did an update where it severely limited your reach for every post. And the only way that people that follow you can actually see your post is if you paid for it. So this actually put a lot of companies out of business at the time, like it was like 2017. So people started getting wise to this, be like, whoa, hold on. Or we can't put all our eggs in this basket of social media. Like, let's build up the social media presence. Let's be always, around, but we can't rely on them for like the livelihood of our business. So that's why people started going back to like these more traditional ways. Like email was like dead for a while. Now then email made a massive resurgence. Then like SMS is one of the hot things everyone's doing is, everyone, like the open rate on your phone is 90+%. If someone texts you, you're most likely got to open it. You might be annoyed if it's promotional, but you're still going to open it. So people are moving to that as well. And the calling, it goes a long way. Like call centers I feel like are growing now more than ever for like the past long while. Cause I mean, it's, because especially if you're depending on the demographic that you're catering towards, like people, if you're buying like expensive item online, it's always nice to get a phone call, being able to reach someone to make sure it's legit. Like there's so many drop shippers and like different businesses that are like, I don't want to say drop shipping shady, but there's definitely some shades of gray with some people in it. So it's nice to be able to get in the call and be able to say, this is a legitimate company. I feel trust. There's someone on the end of the line talking to me. I think that's making a resurgence as well, because, people kind of miss that human interaction when you're dealing with commerce.
Especially now in today's world with, us with the COVID, people being separated. I think people just that extra, hey, here's a closer way to just be able to now hear me and speak to me, connect with me, where people weren't really haven't been able to connect too much in person, and just making more of a, like you said, a more personal connection, making people feel good, like following how you like the product, all this stuff, like all that stuff makes a huge difference when you really think it doesn't, you know. And it's just really interesting to see how, you know, a lot of people relied on social media. Shoot, like even now, like even myself, I still rely heavily on social media, but I've been seeing other ways to be able to collect.
He just thinks he's cool
emails.
because he got the blue check mark.
Oh
you
my
know,
God.
thinks he's a fucking man over here.
Okay.
I mean, that is pretty cool.
It is
Gotta
pretty
get some
cool.
credit.
It is pretty cool.
No, I
But
just got to get
this guy's always swaying.
I talk about it like I talk about it 150
This guy's
times more than he does just to
always
fuck with him.
bugging me. I laugh. I always
He
tell-
walks in, I'm just like, oh, hold on, let me get down and fucking praise the
I laugh because I bug and I'm like, look, one day I'm gonna get our editor and I'm gonna have him do a podcast. I'm gonna just put a little hovering blue check over it just to mess with you because you bug me so much about it.
It's got to be everywhere.
Right? But I just think it's interesting now how you have to pay more attention. It's just I'm looking at these things like, where can I get extra information? The phone number, the email, you know, anything else that I can get that's just not social media anymore, where people went on that craze where it was just social media, just social media, just social media. Keep the person on social media. And I'm not saying that it's not important. So like you still want to have that, but it's a tool, you know, and I think that you still got to do the foundational things that have been around for years. You know what I mean? And that really are like the movers and the producers, because email still is, calling and obviously texting still is. And then just look at social media as that tool, that it's another way to just break the ice or get the information, the email, the phone number that you need, and then you can move it along through some of the traditional routes.
Yeah, I mean, people are all on social media anyway. Like, people are addicted to their like Instagram, Twitter, whatever they're on. So you might as well be where your customers are, or wherever who you're trying to target is. And like, it's always good, like when they're browsing their feed, they pop up and they'll think of you.
Yeah.
But if you have like a release coming out or something, or a big sale or announcement, like, I wouldn't like rely on them happening to scroll past me in a feed, but I'd use it just to stay like always aware and like be omnipresent wherever they are. It's like, oh, this company exists. I forgot about them. I need to have a gift coming up. Let me order something. And that always happens by like happenstance. But like, if you want to get their attention, like, you need to make sure you can reach them.
So if, let's say you're working with someone and they don't have this email subscriber list that, you know, obviously is so important to e-commerce. How do you help your client or help the person that you're working with build that email subscriber list? What would be some steps that you would take them through in order to help them either gain confidence to be able to go and ask people for their email, which when you think about it, doesn't really seem like such a big thing, but when you actually have to ask for it, can be kind of scary and daunting, right? And how do you make sure that you set them up for success long-term with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's email is definitely sometimes hard to grab, like, and phone numbers, like, people treat that like almost like it's a social security number, because it's like one of the hardest.
I used to
things
always
get.
say that getting a girl's Instagram was easier, like less creepy than getting her phone number. You know what I mean? It's like the new phone number, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's quick to, like, if you don't answer Instagram, just leave us on a red, block them, whatever. It's easy. Or a phone number, it's like, that's the phone number. Like, you're not changing that.
It's funny
so it's a little more personal.
You actually get to see more on the Instagram though.
Yeah, I feel like it's just that like stigma with the phone number. It's
Yeah,
like,
I'm telling you,
people had their phone numbers forever.
Getting girls' Instagrams was like my move in 2019. That was like the way I was like telling my friends, like, don't ask for girls' phone numbers. Like, no, WhatsApp, no, WhatsApp's dead. Like, you just DM them. Just DM.
I agree.
Yeah. But sorry, I didn't mean to derail that. But what would you do to help someone build their
conversation?
The most pivotal part of the podcast.
Exactly.
DMs.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the clients, like, what their goals are. Like, if it's an e-commerce brand, like, you can do like an incentive, like, you know, X% off your first order. Just collect the email address. If it's you know, if it's like a contractor or something like that, you can give like out a free like book on like information, or a free like a free ebook, is like a very common thing people do. So you can provide value in exchange for their email or phone number. It really depends, but and also, of course, like previous customers, you can always email them. They know who you are, but you always want to give a little something. Like, if you just like, I see a lot of sites and like the bottom of the site, it's like, give us your email address for updates. Like, no one's probably going to do that. You need some kind of incentive in place.
I feel like the ebook thing is a little overplayed though. When you say,
agree.
right? So what would you say, you know, like what's something like out of the box that people might not realize, but that would actually probably draw attention? I mean, obviously this is what you do for work, so I don't want you to give like away all your secrets, but
Yeah, I mean, it really depends. Like, I always love trying to think of like out of the box ideas, but it depends on the company. Like, if you want to give like, you can do like some mystery, like we're giving like give us your email address for like a mystery prize or something like that, or like some kind of things like keep them like guessing and curious. And it might be enough where it's like, I wonder what that is, or like we're giving you like a free gift of purchase or something if you give us your email. And like you don't have to say exactly what it is, but it can like intrigue them enough to actually put your email to see what it actually is, like just this like curiosity.
Gotcha.
But there's a lot of different ways you can do it. It really depends on the type of business it is.
Right.
Or like if it's a contractor, not just like if it's not an ebook, like $50 off or whatever off your first, like a free. Like, you might do assessment for free. Be like, we'll give you a free assessment if you just give me your email address, but you're going to do that anyway for free.
Right.
Makes sense. Yeah, just finding new different ways to, and it's a lot of testing, right? It's a lot of testing, just figuring out like, okay, this may
always be testing
this
for
worked,
sure.
This didn't work, or maybe this worked with this group of people, this didn't work with this group of people. So I know there's a lot of testing into. It's always figuring it out.
Yeah, if you're not testing, like you're just going to be stagnant and your competition is going to jump in front of you. Like I always tell my clients, like test always. Like even if you think you have the best idea possible, and you think like that it's crushing it, you could always do better.
I've been hearing too that even giving small audiobooks has been another huge thing now, just because everything's going audio. A lot of people have been wanting instead of an ebook, getting a little small audible.
Yeah, no, I mean anything to provide value to them that would like help them in whatever like industry it is. Like it's always a good idea. Like even like I don't know, like getting it's really just getting content out there. Like even putting, obviously like this can, you connect this email later, but just like putting like YouTube content, any kind of content around your business is going to see, people are going to see you as an authority in the space. Like if you make a book, it's like, oh, he made a book, he must know what he's talking about. So like anything to establish you as an authority that makes them trust you is a positive in the end customer's eyes.
Perception as well.
I know I've had a couple of people be like, oh my God, you and Mendes have a podcast. I'm like, yeah, if you only knew how fucking sorry, R word. If you knew how childish we are sometimes, you know, it's it maybe it doesn't seem that efficient. Maybe it doesn't. But no,
it's like same way as a book. Like to your point,
right.
Like a podcast. Like they talk to like people, listen to them. They must know what they're talking about. So it's a form of like being an authority in your space.
Right.
Now, another thing I want to bring up, because I know it's important. I want to see your take on how you help some of these. Like, for example, you got your juice brand, you got Peach NYC, but you got your name, your personal brand going on as well. And I think that a lot of people forget about building their personal brand, which actually can inject into your other actual companies. Is that something that you work with your clients or you show them? Just because I'm big on personal brand and building that, because it does create awareness. And when you have that strong, it could seep into other areas for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've always been pro like building personal brand, because like you never know where it takes you. Like I never in my life would have imagined I'd be in the agency world. Like I made juice 3 years ago with my co-founder Michael, and like I never thought I'd be in this world. I've always just put out information like when I thought it'd be helpful for people, and like shared what I was up to. Been doing it forever, like since Twitter, like as Twitter is coming out. Before that, like on forums, like I've been posting online forever. And I think the fact that like I shared everything that I was up to, and I was always trying to provide value, and like, I don't know, like either posting like things I'm doing, or like if anyone reaches out to me, I'm always like happy to help whoever reaches out if I can. So I think just putting that out there enabled me for like now, like that I have juice, like I have a name, I have followers or whatever, and people reach out to me for clients to grow their business. So I think it helped establish that credibility.
That's awesome.
Building that personal brand. But it was just something that I don't know, like even before like influencers or social media were a thing, I was just like always like, let me just put out whatever I'm doing. If it helps someone, great. If it doesn't, I'm doing it anyway, whatever. It's out there.
Now you talk about providing value, and I think that this is something that I always find funny when people, because people will come to us and be like, oh, you guys put out a lot of content. Like, how do you know what to put out? When do you know when to put it? And so it's like, well, we ask a lot of questions, right? To find out what people might be wanting to know from us in the first place. Also, just what are some of the things that we talk to normal? Like I'll post something about a question he asked me about health. If he's like, hey, listen, I'm struggling with this. Okay. Well, if you're struggling, probably 150,000 other people are struggling with it. So I'm going to talk about it. Right. And I always think it's interesting to me, because people think when you talk about providing value that you're bringing like these very complex, intricate ideas to light. And really it's like the simple things that I feel like we just do day in and day out that you and I would talk about. right? Or Mendes and I would talk about, or you guys would talk about, that really drives home a lot of value for people, that really moves the needle in their life.
Yeah, it's funny because I talked to my friends about this actually not too long ago, because the things that you do in your everyday life that seem easy to you or come natural to you and easy because you've been doing it so many times over and over again, and you've been doing it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I don't know, for the longest time, like stuff I put on, like I didn't want to put some stuff on Twitter because I'm like, this sounds too noobish. It's like so like easy, like, but like I realized my friends like just getting to the space were like, oh, that's actually helpful for me because like I didn't know how to do this. Like I don't know how legal works for e-com for giveaways or something like that, or I don't know how to launch my first like Facebook ads, whatever. Like as simple as it seems to me, it's someone that's just getting to the space, it's very helpful for. So that's something that like I had to detach myself from for a while ago and just like stop worried about sounding like a noob. If you're helping someone, cool, that's great. But it's funny too, because like the thing you were saying before, like the problems people have is like literally that's how like I based my entire career. Is like if I ever hit a roadblock, I push myself to say like you're not the only one with this problem, and you should build like a solution around this and build a business around it. Like my first company was Make a GIF because I didn't know how to make GIFs and I didn't know how to use Photoshop, but I was really good at MS Paint. But I had no idea how to use it. But I know it. I used to go like 800% zoom and edit pixel to pixel. It was crazy OCD.
Wow.
But I had no idea how to make GIFs, and I was like, I can't be the only one with this problem. So I made Make a GIF, and thankfully grew it to millions of users because I knew I wasn't the only one that had this problem. So like I always try to like frame anything, and then I'm like any kind of problem I have or roadblock I have, that's like how I try to build startups and solutions for or invest in companies doing that.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So how about you? What was the problem you saw, and what was your whole coming with Juice?
So the problem, honestly, the problem I saw with Juice is that was the agency world. I built and sold a few startups over the years. I've worked at companies like BuzzFeed. I never once liked my agency experience. And I realized agencies were like good at spending on Facebook and these platforms. They didn't really understand the brand. They didn't understand anything past the ads themselves. So Michael and I like came together and like, we're both being like constantly hit up for consulting. We never liked working with agencies. Why don't we just try making an agency and just work with a handful of clients that we want to work with, and we apply like the tactics we used to build our own companies, and thought about it like as if this was our business, what would we do? Not just go through the motions like, yeah, let's launch ads, let's spend more money and like the typical agency stuff. Like, no, let's dive into the weeds and like understand like if someone goes to your site, well, yeah, we can drive traffic from ads. Someone goes to your site, typical agency is like, oh, it's on you. You guys get the sale now. But for us, it's like, no, they're on this site. Like they need to make sure we need to understand why they bought or why they didn't. So we'll actually like dig to the data to understand like why someone actually bought, what they actually saw, what they read, what they went through. Like a founder would, like if you're like you're going through your whole funnel, going through your business. So we kind of go into the weeds with our clients and understand from the first time someone sees an ad to the point where they're signing up to become a customer or not, and every step they took to get there, and how we can make the best possible customer experience, like as if it was our own company.
Love that.
So we've done this for like the most wide range of clients, ranging from like HIPAA compliant texting out for doctors to like Paris Hilton. And like we launched Halsey's makeup line like last month, and like all these different clients. We're selective with who we take on. We only want to take on clients we think we can have an impact on. Like I hate the typical agency model is like, oh, you have money, let's work with you. I'm like, no, hold up. If you have money, cool. If you have a viable business and a team that I believe in, I'll work with you, and I'll do whatever I can to make sure you guys can succeed. But I won't take anyone's money, and the team won't take anyone's money unless we're actually confident in the idea and the business.
And I think that's great. The fact that you set that standard of quality for yourself and your business, I think it's truly amazing. I wanted to ask you, from what you see in general, you spoke about funnels and all this stuff. Like, what have you seen as some of the big indicators to drive success? I know a lot of people say, oh, you got the color or the way you said it, or, the copy isn't on point, or the pictures or the testimonials or the this or the that. What do you actually see as some of the, and obviously I don't want you to go in there and give away all your stuff, but what are some of the,
go ahead and give away all your stuff.
Or go again. But what are some of the big like flags that you truly see that people should stop doing right now?
Yeah, I mean, like there's a lot of things people aren't looking at. Like it's like the simplest things people just literally aren't looking at. Like people are launching stores and they're just looking at like, oh shit, I have no sales. That means my business sucks. Or I have a few sales. It means I'm gonna kill it. But like there's a lot of things you can learn from like just looking at the comments on your ads. Like I can tell you like almost like no one looks at the comments on ads. I don't understand why, because there's such a good indicator of like your business. Like if there's subtle things people do, like if you see someone like tag a friend, that means like not only are they interested, it's like, yo, you should look at this. They're like the reactions, the comments, like people give feedback, and actually you can listen. Like this would be cool if the product did this. Like that could be your next like variant of your product. There's a lot of like good like seedlings of information in there, but also people don't really A/B test on the site side. Like they'll send traffic to the site, and be like, oh, no one's buying, I guess it's not working. But you can also be like, you also can try a completely different experience. You can try like longer form pages. You can try more photos. Like all the time people launch stores with next to no photos, and they're wondering like, why is anyone buying? And like, because who's going to buy something if they don't even know what it looks like, or they don't know how to actually like the experience they're in for. Like paint the picture for them, exactly what they should expect and what they're in for and what they're buying, and like why they should be excited about it. Just because you put it out there doesn't mean people are going to buy it. It's not Field of Dreams. Like, it's not like if you build it, they will come. It's like, no, build something people want, explain why it's so cool or so great, and then share the excitement with them. Like I've seen so many product pages where it's like, here's my product, here's the price, go buy. And it's like, no, like you were enthusiastic when you made it. You had a motivation to buy it. Tell your story. Like people also, the other thing is like people don't explain their brand story. And I think it's people think it's like stupid. Like, who's going to care about my brand story? But no, people care. Like if they're buying into a product, a lot of time they're buying into the brand, they're buying into you. Mm-hmm. Like you might have like a crazy origin story of why you made a product, and it might resonate with someone. It's like, I had that problem, or I know someone that has that problem. That's a great gift for them. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like people don't put enough thought into their actual site and remind the people buying why they actually made the product and why they should be excited.
And I think in today's world more than ever, I think more people are more conscious of like paying attention to those details of like the story behind it, the people behind it, like how they started, who started, why did they start it, you know, and like the true meaning and essence of what that brand really stands for. And you're so right about that, you know, and this is us being consumers looking in on why we buy from products or we buy from stores, and we feel that emotional connection because of something that hit home from us, maybe a childhood experience or something that we went through our life or something that we enjoyed. And it's those little key things that does make a difference.
100%. Yeah. We like when I audit like some client sites coming in and stuff, and I look at where traffic is going to, it always surprises them to see how many people actually looking at our story page or like about us. Like they're always shocked. It's like, oh, I didn't know one actually read this. I'm like, yeah, a lot of like consumers coming in actually like care, especially when they're buying from like not Fortune 500s, when they're buying from these Shopify stores, like the individual like stores, like what their deal is, like why do they make this product? Like, is it made in America? Is it something that like has sentimental value to them? Why do they do this? And it's surprising when you look at that number, how many people actually click through and read.
Oh, and I can imagine it's going to dramatically increase, you know, post COVID, post lockdown, you know, once we start bringing the economy back, because people are really, I feel like now more than ever, really starting to attach a face to a business, right? Being able 100%. To see like, okay, your family's been doing this for 95 years. Like, okay, you know, we got to support you because, you know, if you've been able to be around that long, like you must be doing something right. You know what I mean? No, as compared to like, oh, I'm just going to go to Walmart and get this like bar of soap, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. They want to support locals, support small business. I've seen definitely increase in that. And it was funny, like I saw this has been like a trend that people like kind of more subtle. I think COVID just kind of brought to light. Yeah. I remember when I was at BuzzFeed, we had a company called Homesick, which is like a candle company. And I noticed that whenever like we did like the site looked purposely like a mom and pop shop. It looked like a small business, but it's low-key owned by BuzzFeed. And when we did like a major overhaul to make it look like super high end, the conversion rate actually dropped and the sales dropped. And what we realized was that people actually liked that it felt that mom and pop feel, and like it was like they're shopping small. So it's really interesting. Like I think that's been top of mind for people. It just kind of floated into the surface now, and people are getting more conscious of that.
Back to the perception.
Exactly. Yeah, perception is everything, right?
So going back to Juice, I know you say you started 3 years ago. Kind of what is it that you see that Juice has created an impact in what you're doing and how you're growing things? Like, what is it? What's that passion behind it with Juice that you love so much? And then again, let's take a moment, a second. Let's point at that little Juice logo real quick. There we go.
No, it's exciting for me. Like I'm happy that we're fortunate enough to work with the brands that we want to work with. that come in the door. And this doesn't mean brands with like large budget. That's have to be like a brand with a large budget. Like when we first started, we met with a company that was selling donuts online, like paleo donuts online. And
you had
when we
me
met
sold.
them,
You had me sold a donut.
Hey, we met them. They're doing like $3,000 a month in sales, selling out of their kitchen, out of their home. And after a year of working with them, we were able to scale them up to making over $300,000 a month.
Wow!
And they scaled out of 2 industrial kitchens, and like getting a text from them saying that we bought our first home, like that was the impact
That's
that like
incredible.
made a difference for me. Like seeing that message like made my year. Like and
That's
realizing
incredible.
that like I love like it's great working in Toronto. It's great working with like Kenneth Cole and like these big companies, but when you get messages like that from the small businesses that you're helping grow and really have an impact on their actual lives, like nothing is more impactful than that. And nothing feels better than seeing a message like that. We've had plenty of clients tell us like that we help them grow their business, help their family. Some other companies, we help them go on to raise a series of funding from venture capital and change their life trajectories. Like it's the mess, like actually having that impact and working with these companies and not like just taking their money like a typical agency would, but actually giving the thought and care into like, growing their companies and growing with them has been pretty incredible.
I mean, but it just goes to show when you take that extra step, right? When you actually do care about the people that you work with, you can see a lot of return on the investment that not only they're putting in, but I mean, you're putting in a lot of your time, right? Yep. That you could, like you said, like you're pretty picky about who you work with. We're the same way with our clients, and it's because we want to see that return on investment. You know, nothing sucks more for me than when I'm like working with someone. They're like, "Oh, I'm not losing weight. I'm not losing weight." I'm like, "Well, what are you doing when you get home?" They're like, "Well, I'm eating pizza and chips, and I had gummy bears for dinner." I'm like, "Well, what the fuck? What the fuck?" Like, I didn't go to school for 6 years and like, you know, grind 90-hour weeks to then have to come in here and listen to you complain that you're not losing weight because you're eating fucking gummy bears at night. Like, do what you're supposed to do, you know. And when you actually can work with someone who is doing the things that they need to do, and you're putting in that time to work with them, and you can see, you know, just how much of a change and impact that they make in their own lives through just a little guidance that you give them, really does bring a tremendous amount of, you know, value. At least I know it for my business, and it seems the same way for you. So that's a pretty interesting thing that you brought up. I'm curious where you see Juice going. I mean, you said that you guys are coming down here. You're going to be opening up a new office down here and expanding a little bit. Do you see yourself just kind of doubling down on what you guys have been doing and been successful at, just bringing it to the South Florida market? Or do you see yourself kind of reaching out and expanding and kind of dipping your hands into or feet into a couple different new areas of business on the tech side?
Yeah, I mean, we're always expanding like service line and stuff, and always wherever it makes sense. So we're gonna keep growing out. Like we started primarily with like Facebook and Google advertising. Then we introduced like SEO, influencers, email, now SMS. So we're always expanding. We're looking into like doing TV and out-of-home advertising.
Nice.
As our clients are growing and they need more areas, more channels to jump into. So we're always looking to expand and grow. We're doing it at a good pace to make sure that we don't want to take on any services unless we're confident we can deliver on it. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely top of mind for us as we're growing. Like we grew 50% last year. We want to do the same, grow the same pace this year and keep growing while maintaining quality. Like the one thing we're super OCD about is the team we have. I'm very proud of our team and the work we put out. And we the difficulty for us for scaling is just making sure that the quality stays what it is now. So we're definitely want to grow, but we want to make sure we do it at a good pace with keeping the quality up and saying the work that we can be proud to stand behind. But yeah, definitely going to expand the service lines and keep growing. And who knows what city's next, but this one coming up is Miami.
Well,
yeah, great.
Well,
welcome.
Me and Josh are gonna have to see if we're gonna have to consider Juice for some of our stuff. Well, that's if we get approved.
I know.
That's if we get approved.
I know a guy. We'll see.
So you're gonna have to fill out this whole entire thing over here, and you have to get at least a 95%. If
Good
not,
luck.
you can.
I mean, hey, listen, you got that blue check mark. We got something going for us. You know, you are.
That's true.
He mentioned influencers.
Thank
You're an
God.
official influencer now, so I think I'm still in the micro stages, so I don't count. Maybe
we'll get you there. We'll get you there. Yeah. Baby steps. Baby steps.
Yeah. Oh man, how funny! No, I love it. No, but look, overall, I just think it's truly amazing what you guys are doing and the impact that you're driving forward, because this is an area that is growing. This is an area that you're seeing a lot of more, mom and pop, online shops and stuff like that in need of. You're seeing a lot of more personal brands in need of.
I mean, I would be fucked if I no, to be honest, I'd be screwed. Like if I didn't, if I wasn't getting advice from people like you.
No,
You know what I mean?
true.
I know nothing when it comes to like brand strategy, none of that. You know what I mean? If I didn't have a team around me to kind of help guide me a little bit, I'd be lost.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, like at this time, like everything, like like if you're looking to get a foundation, like even if you can't afford an agency, like a lot of people reach out to us, and I always try to give free advice, even if like someone can't afford our services. That there's so many resources online. Obviously, like be careful of what you read and make sure that it's like a repeatable source. But everything is available online now. Like I didn't learn this in school. Like I dropped out when I was 19. I just went to the University of Google and just like looked around and saw what I could find on the internet and tried and learned.
Done that. Yeah.
But you know what's funny? I'm going to tell you, here's the difference. Here's the difference between most people. Because this is what I've learned and I've come to see is that you can give out so much great free information, yet only 1% of people are going to actually use it and do it.
Well,
it's true. I mean, it's on them. Like they have the access to everything, but it's on them to actually read it and apply it. Like that's the hard part. It's like it's easy. A lot of people like I have a lot of friends like I listened to this podcast. It was great. I'm like, okay, what did you learn from it? What did you do? No, I listened to it.
Yeah,
I
like, listened to it. Great.
That's not gonna do anything. You gotta apply what you're actually like. Even if it's on a small level, just try things.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to fail. Just like see what happens.
I have a friend who's like a huge. He loves bragging about the number of books he reads every year. Like it's like his fucking saving grace. Like I read 150 books this year. I'm like, there's no way you retained a quarter of that information.
No,
150 books.
Speed.
Like you read 3 books a month for what? For like if I read 1 book a month, I feel like I don't retain anything.
If I read 2 books in a year, I'm like, whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah, you're a YouTube University guy for sure.
Yeah, I'm a Audible, YouTube, and podcast university guy. I gotta listen and watch my shit.
Everyone's got their own medium.
That's right.
But yeah, I don't understand people that like. I mean, if you could actually read that much and retain it, good on you.
Good
like for
you.
me, like I do a decent amount of reading, but I'm also dyslexic, so I read pretty slow. So that's just a natural handicap. I'm just like, all right, I feel like it helps me if anything because I read everything almost twice while I'm reading. So I don't understand people that like I read 1 book a week or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but if you didn't retain it, what's the point of just having little accolades saying like I read them? Like, yeah, it looks good on your bookshelf.
Well, the pat on the back and the 150 likes that you're gonna get on Instagram.
There you
Dude,
go.
I open a book and I'm like, oh, wait, what did I do now? No, but literally, like me getting through 1 book and I'm like,
I know we bring authors on the podcast and he just looks at me and I'm like, dude, don't worry.
because he's a reader.
I'll read the book.
And I'll be like, can you find me the Audible? Just shoot me the Audible.
He'll be like, don't worry, man. Like we're gonna bring this author on and be like, in 3 days. I'm like, great. I have to read this 400-page book in 3 days. Perfect. Can't wait. I can't wait.
So I published a book a few years ago that'll be right up your alley. It's like 70% pictures.
Oh yeah,
it'll be good.
Great, perfect.
I had a viral Tumblr that like was on Howard Stern, so I did a book deal with Penguin after that.
What's the book called?
I got My Bad Parent. It was just like funny parenting photos and just ridiculous commentary. But I sold the rights to that to Fox a few years ago. But it's definitely up your alley. It's mostly photos, so you'll be good.
Perfect.
There we go. You see, he already knows.
Dude, picture books are the tits. Like. Can't ever fuck around with a picture book, man.
It's
always no one hates a picture book.
No,
nobody hates a picture book at all.
It's
Definitely
amazing.
Not. So moving forward with everything else, man, like what are some of the things you're looking forward in Miami? Besides, you moving your stuff over here, you moving yourself over here. What are some of the other things you're looking forward in Miami to do and grow with, especially with the opportunities on the rise?
Freedom.
Freedom. No, it's just exciting. Like being in a new city. Like we've been in New York for 3.5, a little over 3.5 years now. So we got a great network there, great footing. So it's always great to meet new people, see new businesses, because every city has its own network, its own group of people in there. So I'm excited to meet a ton of people, meet all local businesses, so to be helpful and be a part of the community.
That's awesome. Well, definitely, if we can do anything of help and be able to serve you and help you and get your name out there.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just be an asset. We'd be more than happy to do that, especially, being Miamians ourselves. So I love seeing Miami grow. I've always said, before I create impact elsewhere. I really want to create impact as much as I can in my city and then expand from there. So it is
I
important.
love that. I see a lot of people in Miami have that outlook. And I think it's great. Like that, how excited people like that are from Miami are about it. And like, it seems like the culture of Miami is always just like, how can I help? And like, and I love that. Like, New York is like a little more cutthroat, I guess, and it's a little more looking out for number one, which I kind of enjoy as well because I like the competition. But I like to change the pace of Miami, where it's like, oh, you're Miami, how can I help? Come be part of the community, very welcoming.
You got to just be careful, right? Because there's a bunch of them that are gonna say, oh, come listen.
What am I gonna get out
here?
of it?
You see this shiny object? Look, this is like 10% of what I can do, and it's really like 95% of what they can do. Then they're like, oh, but Troy, you can do all these things for me. Perfect. Why don't you help me, and then I'll show you the other 90% of what I can do. You know, it's like no.
So a little flair of like LA.
A
Yeah,
little flavor.
Yeah, it's like the wannabe hustler of New York with a lot of that like shadiness of LA, right? That's usually what you get in Miami.
Sounds like a challenge. I like it.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, well, Troy, you know it's been amazing talking to you. One, welcome. I know I said it before, but welcome to South Florida. And like Mendez said, any way that either of us can help you, we'd be more than happy to. We'd love to have you in the podcast studio. Once you're officially down here in Miami and you have everything settled in, we'd love to have you in here.
We love that and appreciate it, guys. It's been fun on here, and and likewise, if I could ever be helpful, always happy to be.
Great, yeah, for sure.
That. I'll definitely be calling for the what are the free tips now? I'm just kidding.
If you ever get like a call at 2:30 in the morning from a 305 number.
This is not Anthony.
Just a bunch of heavy breathing followed by like, hey, can I get some tips? you know it's Mendez.
Blue check.
Yeah.
By the way, love it. So, where can people find you? Where can people connect with you? And then, of course, some of the new stuff you're working on. Are there any other new projects that you're working on as well?
Yeah. If you want to find Juice, just thinkjuice.com. If you want to find me on Twitter, it's easy, just at YO. If you want to find me on Instagram, at Troy, Clubhouse, at Troy, Snapchat, at Troy. I'm all over the socials. And yeah, we have some stuff I can't announce yet coming out, but have some cool projects in the works. And yeah, new office in Miami.
Woo.
That's great.
I got to mention real quick. I think he's one of the first or second to actually mention Snapchat.
I know, man. Snapchat's been forever.
Don't sleep on Snapchat.
Damn, now I'm gonna have to get.
I've been long on Snapchat.
Now I'm gonna bring my Snapchat.
I have to
back.
upload. I don't know. I don't even think I have the app on my phone anymore.
Not on TikTok, but Snapchat, I'm a big fan of.
All right, there we go. So
All
we're
right.
gonna bring Snapchat back now. All right, you heard it. So for our content creator, we gotta bring Snapchat up and
Yeah, she's gonna hate us.
We're always adding
New
stuff.
channel.
She's like, more shit. We're like, more shit.
More
yes,
shit.
more
Surprise.
stuff.
I apologize, whoever that person is. My bad.
We love you, Kirsten.
That's all right.
So gonna hit you with some quick rapid fire questions, and we'll wrap it up right now. Boom. Question number 1. What is, or what was, or has been the biggest hurdle that you have had to overcome in your career in business?
Biggest hurdle. I think like is on a mental hurdle that I had like when I was younger, that about looking at what everyone else was doing and kind of being worried, like in my head, like I feel like people naturally have like this thing where they think there's like a limit of success in the world, and if someone else does well, like it takes away from you. And when I was younger, like my mental hurdle that I get past, like be happy for everyone that's doing well, and not, it doesn't take away from you, and just be happy for others. And I feel like not enough like founders, entrepreneurs have that kind of mentality.
I appreciate you sharing. That's awesome.
Dude, stop trying to take my shit from me, dude.
Sorry, bro. I took the blue check, but it's okay.
I know. No, I'm not gonna get one because you have one. Fuck.
Question number 2. What has been the craziest and wildest experience you've had in your career so far?
I don't know if I can even share that.
Oh, it's going on YouTube. You can share it. Come on. Trust me, if you knew what we were talking about.
Yeah. I've had my fair share, but I don't know what I want to publish on publicly.
It's only going to be there forever. It's okay.
I mean, I'll just go the more rated G one, which is, I'll just say like that book deal that came together was kind of wild, just because like I thought I was being pranked, to be honest. Like I just had a Tumblr that just all of a sudden just kind of spiraling and went viral, and then then it was on Howard Stern. Then all of a sudden ICM, like the biggest published like literary agency, reached out to me to do a book. And I just thought it was like, I swear until I held that book, I thought I was being pranked by my friends. I didn't think it was real.
Oh man, that would be crazy.
I might do that to you because you're definitely
It's a
gonna
long
forget.
con.
Maybe.
I might do that honestly because I'm that sick. But
It's like your stepdad.
I know he was such a dick. That's where I learned it from.
Oh man. Question number 3 and last one. What is the biggest piece of advice you can leave off to all our listeners today in one sentence?
One sentence. I can say like one sentence that I always try to tell people is just, don't be afraid of failure. Just because like I've, as long as like it's not a negative like a lot of people think it is. If it's a learning experience, it's a positive. And we've all had plenty of failures. Not everyone speaks about them, but just embrace them.
Boom.
Love
You guys
that.
heard it. Embrace those failures and you will create success. Yo, Troy,
Exactly.
appreciate you, my brother.
Yeah,
This
thank
is
you
a
for
big-
coming
Appreciate
on.
both of you.
Can't
Yeah.
wait to have you
Thanks
down
for
here in
having me.
Miami permanently.
Yeah, let us know when you're officially down here, and we'll get together.
Let's do it.
Awesome, man. Thank you, Troy.
Awesome, guys.
Till next
Thank
time,
you.
guys.